Recording in progress.
One moment. We are logging into the radio station.
Sure.
You are on.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. The meeting of the Committee on Student Achievement and School Innovation of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director Carr? Director Carr did inform our office that she would be running behind tonight, but I thought I saw her on the platform.
I see her, so she may just be still getting settled.
Okay. I'm just going to switch my view just to make sure that I can see everyone. Great. Okay, Director Garcia has asked to be excused tonight. Director Gokul Gandhi,
Here.
Director Leonard,
Here.
and Chair Simpson.
Present.
We have 3 committee members present at this time, and President Peterson is joining the committee.
Yes, welcome, President Peterson. The Chair will now ask the Secretary to lead us in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. Members, please mute your devices.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pursuant to Board Rule 1.06, this meeting is being conducted virtually. Board members participating in the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is being broadcast via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links of which can be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes. Esta junta escolar se transmitirá en español para aquellas personas que lo necesiten. Para escuchar la junta en español, por favor marque el número 312-626-6799. Repito, marque el número 312-626-6799 y ponga el número de identificación o código para esta junta, que es 608-130-5362. Repito, el número de identificación o código para esta junta es el 608-130-5362. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. Individuals who wished to speak on tonight's items were required to register in advance. I ask those who are waiting to speak to remain on the platform until you are called upon to speak. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates that all comments should be directed to the chair of the committee. Also, any questions or requests are to be directed toward the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. All speakers are asked to state their name and spell their last name before proceeding with their comments. Each speaker will have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to speak. After a speaker's time is up, continue to follow the meeting at one of the broadcast options mentioned previously. To ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind, including inappropriate language, will not be tolerated. The chair reserves the right to remove anyone engaging in such behavior from the platform. Those removed from the platform may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, he or she will not be allowed to rejoin the platform. Written testimony may be submitted to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53201, 800-2181 or fax to 414-475-8071 or email it to governance@milwaukee12wi.us. Also, for our listening audience, if you wish to access this evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may do so by visiting the Meetings, Agendas, and Minutes page on the MPS website and choosing Online Agendas. Now, let's begin. Secretary, item number 1.
Item 1 is a report with possible action on the MPS Montessori Strategic Plan revision. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Will administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Simpson and members of the committee, Keith Posley, Superintendent of Schools. We are prepared to share our 2021-22 quarterly report regarding the Montessori Strategic Plan. At this time, I will ask that Abigail Rouse, our Montessori coordinator, to begin the presentation, and we will be happy afterwards to answer any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Abigail?
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the board. My name is Abigail Rausch, and I am the Montessori coordinator. I am here this evening with Andrea Corona, principal of McDowell Montessori School, and Joe DiCarlo, principal of Maryland Avenue Montessori School, to provide the proposed revisions to the Montessori Strategic Plan. We want to begin this presentation by sharing how the Montessori Strategic Plan embodies the district's 5 priorities for success, especially increase academic achievement and accountability, develop our staff, and strengthen communication and collaboration. The ambitious instruction plan, Accelerating Learning, is the instructional framework for all schools and classrooms in MPS. We fulfill this expectation through utilizing the Montessori method, which is based on the philosophy that children reach their fullest potential through multi-age interactions in an inquisitive, cooperative, and encouraging atmosphere, through self-directed activity and hands-on learning using unique materials. In addition, the 10 elements outlined in the district's academic standard of care are embedded in the Montessori philosophy. Tonight, we will be presenting the revisions on the Montessori Strategic Plan. The Montessori Advisory Committee, or MAC, began in early 2018 as a working group of MPS Montessori parents and now includes teachers, paraprofessionals, principals, district administrators, and community partners. In October 2018, the Milwaukee Board of School Directors passed Resolution 1819R-004, formalizing the MAC and requesting a long-term Montessori strategic plan. In March of 2019, the board unanimously approved the Montessori strategic plan designed to protect, enhance, and expand Montessori public education within MPS. Montessori education is characterized by multi-age classrooms, a special set of educational materials, student-chosen work in long blocks of time, a collaborative environment with student mentors, and individual and small group instruction in academic and social skills. More than 5,000 schools in the United States, including 300 public schools, use the Montessori method. The Milwaukee Public Schools has had public Montessori since 1976, the second longest public Montessori system in the country. Besides being the largest cluster of public Montessori schools, the district is also internationally known for its quality of Montessori education. The quality of our Montessori programs is reflected in the number of research studies conducted here in MPS. These studies include a longitudinal study entitled Outcomes for Students in a Montessori Program. This study was conducted by the Association Montessori International from 1990 to 2001. It followed 201 students who attended McDowell and Greenfield, which is now Fernwood, Montessori schools, through at least grade 5, and then continued at an MPS high school. The study supported the hypothesis that Montessori education has a positive long-term impact on children. One factor listed in selected MPS Montessori schools for this study was the integrity of the MPS Montessori programs. There was a research study conducted in 2006 titled Evaluating Montessori Education, which was conducted at Craig Montessori School. This was a study comparing outcomes of children at public inner-city Montessori school with children who attended traditional schools. And the study indicated that Montessori education leads to children with better social and academic skills. To date, this is the most comprehensive Montessori research study ever conducted. This study is very relevant, discussed internationally, and makes MPS Montessori known worldwide. Following the Craig study, a book entitled The Science Behind the Genius was published. This book explores the basic tenets of Montessori education and how they are validated with today's scientific findings. The results of both of our MPS studies are included in this book. In 2018, there was a documentary titled Inside Montessori, which is a feature film that is a documentary filmed and features the high school program at McDowell Montessori. Is one of the 5 Montessori schools throughout the United States that reframe the national education conversation toward creating learning environments that allow children to achieve their full potential. And currently, a research study is being conducted here at multiple MPS Montessori schools. The purpose of this project is to fully understand the impact of the Montessori preschool model on young children's learning outcomes in public schools. This project is being funded by the U.S. Department of Education, the Institute of Educational Sciences, and will be conducted from January 2021 through the summer of 2024. Milwaukee Public Schools continues to be known for the fidelity of implementation of Montessori education. Across the world, there's considerable variability in how the Montessori method is implemented in different schools, and the name, which is not copyrighted, is frequently used without full adherence. As a public Montessori community, our experience and expertise is continually sought, including being invited to present at the Wisconsin Montessori Association on our framework for virtual learning, and being asked to present on our 45th anniversary and success of public Montessori at next year's American Montessori Society Conference. Our Montessori strategic plan ensures continued fidelity of implementation to ensure the best quality of education for our children by providing targeted support and outlining the particular needs of our Montessori schools. The strategic plan has provided funding through scholarships and professional partnerships for 52 adult learners to complete Montessori certification, ensuring that we have highly qualified teachers in front of our children. Our standards of excellence for hiring qualified teachers has been emulated across the country. We hire teachers at Association Montessori International or American Montessori Society certified, and the state of Wisconsin recognizes Montessori certification as a teacher preparation pathway for state licensure. A material standard of care has been developed outlining what specific Montessori materials are to be in each MPS Montessori classroom, ensuring that we have the full complement of Tier 1 instructional materials needed for children. Montessori-specific report cards aligned to district and state standards have been developed, which allows for greater communication between the school and the family. For the assessment of learning, report cards need to provide specific targeted information to those who use them, including the teachers, the parents, and the children. Having report cards that clearly list the standard in a terminology that matches what the children interface with on a day-to-day is the basis for consistency and understanding. And the greatest impact of the Montessori strategic plan has been the cohesion and ability to bring our MPS Montessori community together. We've been able to work together on large-scale projects that affect each school. Teachers from multiple schools have been able to make connections, sharing best practices and success outcomes for children. This was especially evident during our virtual periods during the pandemic. A committee was formed and Montessori school staff from across the district worked together to develop a framework for taking our hands-on learning approach virtual. The Montessori strategic plan allows for consistency of understanding of Montessori among all the schools, departments, and administration so that the quality of implementation can be supported. It is important that stakeholders within MPS understand the general philosophy, curriculum, and practical details that relate to their positions to support high-quality Montessori across the district. Due to the unique nature of implementing Montessori within MPS, there are many intricacies and practical applications that need to be understood and addressed across departments and administration to allow for efficient functioning of programs. The Montessori coordinator position is essential to help coordinate these items across schools, departments, administrations, and families. The Montessori strategic plan formalizes and outlines for all stakeholders the items to support high-quality Montessori programs within MPS. So while reflecting on the great work we have accomplished, we realize that there is still much work to be done. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected our ability to complete some tasks. There are items in the plan that would benefit from revisions and new timelines to be considered. On February 10th, 2022, the Montessori Advisory Committee requested to complete a full review of the strategic plan that we are bringing to you tonight. This revised and updated plan has been developed to ensure continual and appropriate guidelines to implement, support, enhance, and expand Montessori education within the Milwaukee Public Schools. The specific tasks, items, and timelines have been revised based on the feedback from staff, families, and community stakeholders to provide continual growth, development, and support of Montessori in MPS. To engage in the revision process, a dozen public sessions were held, including 3 MAC meetings and 2 paid teacher input sessions. The draft of the plan was also reviewed by MPS District Administration for implementation feasibility.
Chair Simpson, members of the board, Joe DiCarlo, principal of Maryland Avenue Montessori School. A big portion of the revisions to the plan includes adjustment to the timelines. The formatting of the document was simplified. Previously, the strategic plan was organized by years. If an item was to be completed in multiple years, it was repeated in the document. This made the task somewhat difficult to follow. For example, a task in the original plan is to conduct a staff retention survey. Because this task occurs each year, the task was listed in the plan 5 times for each of the 5 years. The new organizational schema is more time-based process. The new timeline categories are happening continuously, monthly, ongoing, specific data-driven, annually, and as needed. This means that in the example, the retention survey task is listed once in the plan, but it's categorized as annually, indicating that this task will be completed each year. This revised structure provides clarity for all who interact with the plan. It also allows for the status of a given task to be updated in a more meaningful way, allowing for greater transparency and accountability of the work. Most tasks included in the original strategic plan were revised to add additional clarifying details. Especially included was Montessori-specific terminology being defined in a way that anyone, whether a Montessorian or a non-Montessori certified person, would understand the desired outcome of the task. For example, some tasks, such as the creation of the dual language Montessori curriculum, were only 1 line in the previous version of the plan. That 1 line needed to be expanded, so the implication of the task and the actual timeline needed to complete the task could be more accurately reflected, such as developing the framework of the Riley Dual Language Montessori School. In the plan revisions, the detailed explanations clearly outline the necessary steps and time-bound success criteria for each item. In the revision, some tasks were also removed because they were already complete, and some because they no longer fit within the plan outcomes.
Chair Simpson, members of the committee, Andrea Corona, principal of McDowell Montessori School. To ensure the continuation of this formal district level support and to support the MAC committee, it is being requested that Montessori have a permanent position of district level support, not tied to the time constraints of the strategic plan. This will ensure that Montessori schools, children, and families have the support needed for continued success. In the revised Montessori strategic plan, the budget was reallocated and categories were redistributed, allowing our fiscal resources to be more aligned to actual need. These realignments include funding to increase the accessibility of Montessori certification for our adult learners, shifting from a scholarship model to a sponsorship model for future Montessori teachers, program support, so individual schools can receive consultation and coaching by international, national, or regional Montessori organizations for fidelity of Montessori implementation, a specific teacher recruitment funding line for attendance at the 2 national and 1 local Montessori conferences for the purpose of teacher recruitment and to increase our brand recognition, a professional development line providing a district-wide PD session, Montessori coaching course for all new SSTs and administrators, sponsorship for new assistant principals or principals who are not Montessori certified positioned at Montessori schools. We would like to continue the sponsorship of secondary teacher certification. Montessori secondary certification would be a condition for new hires, with the caveat that certification courses would be held here in Milwaukee every 5 years. This would be a replication of the certification course 16 MPS employees are currently engaged in. Also of note that a new position of a Montessori planning assistant is listed on the budget summary, but that position is paid for using referendum funds. Next steps. The Montessori Advisory Committee will continue to meet the first Monday of the month from October until May, engaging the public in the work of Montessori. District administration will continue to provide quarterly updates on the progress of the revised strategic plan. And as the revised strategic plan draws to a close in 2027, the intention would be to analyze the need to review, revise, and extend the Montessori strategic plan for continued formal Montessori support within MPS. At this time, we would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive report. I appreciate it, as I know my colleagues do. Madam Secretary, I'd like to go to any public comment if anyone has registered to speak.
Yes, we do have individuals registered for public testimony, and we will begin the comments. The first speaker that we have on the platform is Darlene Arnold. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is Darlene Arnold, Arnold.
Thank you.
And I have been a Montessori teacher for 22 years now. Thanks to the many Montessori advocates who came before me and urged me to become a Montessori trained and supported me through this entire process. The rich Montessori 30-year history within MPS did not happen by accident. Montessori is one of the best things MPS has to offer, improving student outcomes, sustaining enrollment. It is our responsibility to be good stewards of this rich Montessori history and improve, enhance, and expand our programs through the work of this Montessori strategic plan. Maria Montessori intended her method to serve the most vulnerable children. Yet Montessori is rarely known for being a public school option for many. The fact that MPS has been able to create so many public schools while upholding the fidelity of this method has only happened because many people have fought hard for it. I'm urging you to continue to do so. I'm asking you to continue this important work tonight by approving the extension of the strategic plan. The strategic plan is the most important piece of policy that you can approve to continue to advocate for the most vulnerable children of our district. I invite each of you into my classroom to witness the spark in my students' eyes, the magic of multi-age classroom, and the unique Montessori materials that make our classrooms different. Public education is in crisis. Long-standing specialty programs that MPS depends on, like Montessori schools, are in serious risk of disappearing if we don't create sustainable paths to more trained Montessori teachers. Without the Montessori coordinator, this plan is nothing more than words on paper. Please approve this plan so that our rich history can continue and MPS can remain the Montessori pioneers that you are. Thank you for your time.
And thank you, Ms. Darlene. The next speaker on the platform is Lorenda Flores. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony. Okay, the next speaker on the platform is Laura Graven. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
My name is Laura Graven, Graven.
Thank you.
Chair Simpson and members of the committee. I'm an MPS parent and a Montessori advocate who worked diligently to ask for, create, and help pass the 2019 Montessori Strategic Plan and the Advisory Committee. This plan was put in place in order to improve, enhance, and expand our Montessori programs, as you've heard tonight. Aside from the official mission of the committee and strategic plan, I personally worked so hard in order to guard our students, the school leaders, and our teachers from poor decisions brought on by the administration, and hopefully use this plan to create accountability, transparency, and collaboration to support our students and teachers in the classroom. As you've heard, MPS has a rich history of providing public education with fidelity, improving our outcomes for thousands of children. We're so fortunate to have these programs and the research and data that you heard about tonight that support the effectiveness of this method. Some of this research has happened right here in our own district, and we must continue the strategic planning work in order to continue this work of advocacy from all of those who've come before us to create the schools that we now have. I've been a part of the work sessions to revise this plan, which have been collaborative and guided by our previous work and collections of stakeholder input to understand the needs moving forward. The previous plan has proven to be time and money well spent. Specifically, I urge you to fund this plan to sustain the Montessori coordinator position and continue supporting the training of Montessori teachers, a shortage that is more of a crisis each day. We know the teacher shortage is real and specialty programs are at risk if we don't do something to sustain our Montessori trained teachers. And we need to ensure that there are Montessori trained teachers in every Montessori classroom in order to create the equity for our students, regardless of the Montessori school that they attend. Thanks so much for your time and your continued support of this effort by voting to pass this plan tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Shamika Johnson. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hi, I'm Shamika Johnson, Johnson.
Thank you.
Good evening, Director Simpson and members of the committee. I'm Shamika Johnson, a proud MPS educator at Craig Montessori School and an advocate for Montessori education in MPS. I cannot stress enough the importance and the impact that the Montessori Strategic Plan has had on the students and the educators at Craig Montessori and the Montessori community as a whole. The previous Montessori Strategic Plan made it possible for me and my teaching partner as adolescent educators to become Montessori certified to teach Montessori adolescent students. This training gave adolescent teachers across the district the ability to be on the same page so that all adolescent students in our program are receiving the same high-quality Montessori educational experience. The Montessori Strategic Plan and the work that is happening because of it is one of the things that keeps me and MPS as a Montessori teacher. The work that we do in our MPS schools is like no other. Given that we are the largest public provider of Montessori education in the world, it is critically necessary to be sure that all 8 of our schools have the ability and capacity to provide the best education possible for the students we serve in a cohesive and structured way. Without this plan, we are 8 separate schools with 8 separate programs and very little collaboration or communication. This plan allows for equity amongst our programs, making sure that all of our students in Montessori schools have what they need. The passing of the strategic plan will allow for adequate Montessori teacher training, recruitment and retention, continual and equitable practices for materials, purchasing, Montessori-specific professional development, and the continuous practice of ensuring that our students and schools have the necessary support that they need to thrive, with the Montessori coordinator at the helm to ensure that this necessary work happens. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Stephanie Klopp. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Stephanie Klopp, KLOPP,
Thank
Montessori.
you.
I strongly urge the Milwaukee School Board to approve the proposed Montessori strategic plan revision. The strategic plan is the most effective tool we have to continue a successful public Montessori program. It is the culmination of teamwork between parents, Montessori teachers, and MPS leadership. MPS is known as a pioneer in public Montessori. Nationally, we have the second oldest public Montessori program, and most certainly we have the largest. In fact, other public school districts trying to develop public Montessori programs look to us for guidance. I had the opportunity to attend a National Equity in Public Montessori conference 2 weekends ago. As luck would have it, the existence of MPS's Montessori strategic plan was brought up by another participant. When learning I worked for MPS, the participant shared, "What makes your public Montessori program strong is the existence of your Montessori strategic plan. The strategic plan helps protect the essential elements of Montessori that other public programs are struggling to sustain. There is power in numbers." And what is at the top of the list of the Montessori essential elements? Exceptionally prepared Montessori teachers trained by reputable training centers. I completed my AMI elementary training in 2007 through the Montessori Institute of Milwaukee, or MIM. We were fortunate back then to have an internationally affiliated training institute right here at our doorstep. MPS relied heavily on MIM over the span of 4 decades to supply highly trained professionals to our Montessori schools. Having had MIM as a local resource is a reason why we have had enough Montessori teachers for our public schools. Unfortunately, MIM is now closing. The strategic plan provides guidance as to what teacher training centers will provide the same level of quality. It also provides sponsorship for future teachers. We have built our public Montessori program into one of the most successful programs in our school district. We did this by trusting the process and by providing great teachers. Unfortunately, we no longer have MIM to rely on. The Montessori strategic plan is the best tool we have to continue our highly successful program. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Erin Lenz. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hi, I'm Erin Lenz, Lenz.
Thank you.
I am a proud parent of 3 children at Riley Dual Language Montessori and an advocate for MPS Montessori. I cannot stress the importance of this plan and what it has done to improve, enhance, and expand our Montessori schools, especially at Riley Dual Language Montessori, where it is the only program of its kind in Wisconsin, one of the very few in the country. Our school is currently undergoing a pioneering and unique program that without the support of a strategic plan would be difficult, if not impossible. We are so fortunate to have these programs, especially as one as unique as Riley's. I hope you will support the new plan as I believe it is necessary and thoughtful for our district. The previous plan has proven to be time and money well spent, especially on the training of Montessori teachers, a shortage that is more of a crisis every day, especially in a school like Riley Dual Language Montessori, where both language and Montessori are the foundations of this specialized program. The position of the Montessori coordinator has been critical in the fulfillment and execution of the strategic plan. Without this role, the plan would not have produced the real and tangible results you see before you. This could not have been more true at Riley Dual Language Montessori, where the Montessori coordinator has served as a collaborative key connection point for parents, staff, administration, and community stakeholders to help build the program we have today, as well as plan for the one in the future. Our expansion at Riley Dual Language Montessori is only partially complete, and without full and continued support of the Montessori coordinator, it would be difficult to accomplish. Please support the Montessori coordinator role becoming permanent so that we can continue to grow and achieve together. My request is for you to vote tonight in support of this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Jackie Miller. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Miller, Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Chair Simpson, members of the committee, I'm glad to have the opportunity to talk with you. Just to share some brief comments this evening. I am the Director of Montessori Programming and Operations in Cleveland, Ohio. And I want to just speak to the impact that you all are having, that Montessori in Milwaukee is having, specifically with the strategic plan and the role of the Montessori coordinator. As many other people have said, Milwaukee is in fact a leader in the field, and others do look to you. I'm doing that. I'm in the second year in my role, and I have had the opportunity to work with your Montessori coordinator, Ms. Roush, and she is an amazing support to me in my work. We are on the brink of developing a strategic plan in Cleveland, so we are literally following in your footsteps and taking your lead as we grow our Montessori in Cleveland. Ms. Roush and I are part of a growing group that is a Montessori district level coordinator collaborative. So we have found each other. There aren't that many of us across the country, and we gather and meet once a month to support each other in our work. This month, we actually have 3 new people joining the group. This is a position that more and more districts are finding valuable and are adding to their structure, their organizational structure, to be able to support Montessori. In fact, Denver was the most recent one, just created a new district level coordinator position. So I think what that speaks to is the fact that Montessori is a very unique educational model. Our superintendent says that it is different by design. And when something is different by design, it needs ongoing stewardship and support and someone to care for it so that it can continue to be the unique model and provide the incredible results that you all are seeing in Milwaukee for sure. It is also a matter of equity. What I've observed in the collaborations with Ms. Roush is how much the creation of systems for Montessori across numerous schools provides consistency and equity in the way the model is distributed, and that too is remarkable. So I encourage you to support the ongoing strategic plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Isla Singletary. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
My name is Isla Singletary, Singletary.
Thank you.
Hello, Hello, Chairman Simpson and members of the committee. I'm a proud MPS Montessori teacher at Craig Montessori School. The strategic plan has proven to be beneficial to all MPS Montessori schools. However, I'm here to speak about my experience as a Montessori adolescent teacher at Craig Montessori School. I was gifted with the opportunity to obtain an adolescent Montessori certification through this plan. I have learned how to be a better guide for my students, while also learning about the lessons and standards my students have learned prior to entering my classroom. As you know, MPS works hard to ensure that students have progression of standards throughout their years. The Montessori experience, when done with fidelity, ensures that students get a progression of holistic and academic standards their entire time at Craig. I am better equipped to provide this progression of Montessori and academic standards thanks to the strategic plan. I personally know and am connected with adolescent Montessori teachers across almost all MPS Montessori schools due to the certification program. We plan, prepare, and share our experiences as Montessori teachers, which only benefits our students' lives. Additionally, we are able to connect while attending the Montessori-specific professional developments put on by MPS. Furthermore, the position of the Montessori coordinator has been critical in the fulfillment of executing the strategic plan. Personally, I have witnessed the Montessori coordinator position to maintain and improve our Craig students' needs by getting us the best and required learning materials, curriculums, teachers, and environments. Please support the Montessori coordinator role becoming permanent. I hope we can depend on your vote of support to continue the Montessori strategic plan of MPS. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Gina D'Aquisto. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hi, Gina D'Aquisto, D'Aquisto.
Thank you.
I'm in support of the Montessori Advisory Committee and the Montessori Coordinator becoming permanent in our district. Our public Montessori schools are renowned nationally, regionally, globally. There's a high demand for Montessori beginning at age 3. As you know, there are long waiting lists for enrollment of K3 and K4 children. And I think that families stay in MPS for Montessori that might otherwise go to private or suburban schools. The teachers that come to work in Montessori are committed to our curriculum and systems. Some traditionally trained teachers go for training in Montessori. I think Montessori keeps teachers working here in MPS. Now, this is all to say that what we have here is not only special, it's valuable. It is worth it to keep Montessori and expand Montessori in MPS, but we just can't keep our schools going without any leadership or plan. Parents who came together to start the advisory committee rightly saw that we needed a solid leader and a solid direction. We have specific materials, lessons, mixed age classrooms. We have specific training and preparation. Our assessments and interventions have to be tailored to fit what we do. All of this requires well-timed teacher recruitment, student enrollment, and undoubtedly a lot of communication between the principals and various departments within the district. I have worked in MPS for Montessori for 15 years. I can't imagine how all this work was done to keep our Montessori schools going without a coordinator and a committee. The years with the committee and coordinator were more organized. Teachers benefited with even Montessori-specific virtual plans. I guess when things are going well, no one really considers how it all happens. So please keep our committee and coordinator permanently to keep our Montessori vision solid into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Katie Grabowski. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hello, my name is Katie Grabowski. Last name is Grabowski.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am not only a parent of 2 students at McDowell Montessori, but also an employee of the National Center for Montessori in the Public Sector, an organization which supports Montessori district and charter schools around the country. I am calling in to support the Montessori strategic plan. Increasingly, research shows that a high-fidelity Montessori education has positive outcomes for all children. Children in Montessori programs have excelled in executive functioning, have higher standardized test scores, and improved lifelong outcomes. In MPS, we have built a large consortium of Montessori schools within our district, but to properly support and maintain these schools, we must have a plan in place to do this. We must have a plan for Montessori teacher training, and we must specifically consider how to train BIPOC teachers in the Montessori method, something that requires a significant effort to overcome the generalized teacher shortage, as well as the shortage of Montessori trained educators across the nation. Having a trained teacher in every classroom is an absolute must for a high fidelity program. Coordinating one of the largest networks of district-run public Montessori schools cannot be done without the work of a centralized coordinator and must take into account teacher training, Montessori-specific professional development, and the unique supports, materials, and professional learning that goes into growing not only Montessori schools, but Montessori schools that exist within the district framework. Montessori draws families and children into our district. However, without the proper supports, training, and funding, MPS cannot continue to provide high quality, high fidelity Montessori instruction to the children of Milwaukee. I urge you to support the Montessori strategic plan to promote, support, and expand Montessori in MPS. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Lorenda Flores. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony. Lorenda Flores. It looks like she is on the platform. Let's see.
Looks like she's muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, because we are on the radio and cannot have dead air, the board can begin, if you'd like, the board can begin its conversation and we can check back in. We can give Lorenda Flores a call to see if we can assist.
Great, thank you. I would appreciate that. That
Thank
sounds
you.
like a good plan. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Leonard.
So first of all, I actually raised some of these questions up with Mr. Harris some time back. I was aware that the MIM was not going to be available to help with as a local resource for training teachers. And I just need some clarity on our status on that. Mr. Harris had told me that he was working on some connections with people and was making strides with it. But I want to make sure that we have something in place so that we are not going to run dry on the ability to train more people in Montessori methods.
Administration.
Director Simpson, Director Leonard, thank you for the question. Abigail Rausch, Montessori coordinator. So in the revised plan, we do have a 3-tier focus on developing our teacher pipeline. So one aspect is to recruit teachers, to recruit people who are already Montessori certified to come and join us here in the Milwaukee Public Schools. Our second tier is to work on sponsoring adult learners, so staff members, and also reaching out to universities and being able to sponsor freshly graduated adults who are in like a traditional training program and being able to sponsor them. So to pay for their Montessori certification in exchange for them coming to work for us. And then our third tier is to continue to develop our training partnerships. And so one of those aspects is around the work of searching for a professor, a Montessori professor that we could bring here to then provide Montessori certification through our own pipeline.
And how are we doing with that?
Well, this framework of how this looks is part of the new revisions to the strategic plan. So these are the goals that we have. If this plan, moving forward, if this plan gets passed, these are the 3 things that we would like to focus on to address that teacher shortage.
Dr. Leonard?
I guess I'm looking for assurances that everything is moving forward. I'm assuming you're waiting for us to vote today on that also. So I do understand that. I am concerned. I guess I don't want to lose this. I'll just be very blunt about it. I don't want us to let this fall to the wayside. And I think it was an excellent program. And it's important that we stay on top of it and keep the board well aware of it, keep me aware of it, keep all of us aware of it so that we can make sure that whatever help you need, that we can push this forward. I also want to ask, I looked at the budget for Montessori, and there are 4 people in that area. One is a coordinator. That position is not permanent, or can we just make it permanent? I'm not sure why we have not made it permanent. I guess that's what I'm asking.
Administration.
Chair Simpson, members of the committee, when we did the strategic plan, the plan laid out the years that we had that was a part of that particular plan, and it did not have anything permanent. It was the idea that, for those 5 years, we would have this coordinator. And so what we are trying to do now is to make sure that it's crystal clear that this position will be permanent.
Okay.
Dr. Leonard, any follow-up?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Great. I see Director Gokul Gandhi's hand raised. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you, Chair Simpson. So when I'm listening to testimony, and especially now after listening to Director Leonard, there seemed to be a tenor of urgency and concern in the voices of those testifying that maybe something is at risk or something isn't being prioritized. And perhaps that's my perception, but in the presentations we've been given during SASE committee, it doesn't, there haven't been any big roadblocks presented to us. And so I'm asking for some transparency here, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, which is fine. Are we worried about are we worried about things? And if we are worried about them, I would like to know, is it a budget restriction? Is it a personnel restriction? Because now after hearing Director Leonard ask that question, I am now worried, and I'm worried that maybe I have missed something. So if it's not, and I've made something up, totally fine and fair, but I would like to have an honest discussion if something's wrong.
Administration.
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, the idea when we do our quarterly reports, the plan is moving as expected. But what has happened over time is we have had a pandemic, and we are in the, coming out of a pandemic. The plan is, due at the end of the plan is 2027. And our goal is to make sure that we make some adjustments as we go forward so that we know that we are 100% successful. But the urgency part of this is just to make sure there were some things that were not just 100% stated out transparently, and we just want to make sure that it's stated and that we can move forward. So making sure that our plan is successful. And that is pretty much it. And as well as making sure that we can equip and be prepared to find the teachers that's needed. And when strategies, we have to come up with new strategies to make sure that we have the staff that's needed. And the team has come together around that and put in writing what some adjustments needs to be within the plan. And that is the part of the urgency, is the new adjustments that have been made.
Director Gokul-Gandhi, any follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we, I have a Montessori school in my district, and our Montessori program is really unique and wonderful. So I don't think there's any question that any of us support this amazing program. I guess I would just like to hear from the team, and I totally realize there's a pandemic and staffing issues. The concerns weren't like super reflected in this presentation, right? So if I had just sat down to see this presentation, I'm like, everything's fine, everything's great. So I'm just feeling a little taken aback by that. So I guess I would like to hear, what are like the three things aside from staffing, are there any other concerns that weren't necessarily impressed upon in this presentation that we need to be fully aware of right now, and that we need to maybe take immediate action on or reallocate dollars in this budget?
Administration.
Chair Simpson, Director Gokul-Gandhi, members of the committee, Andrea Corona, Principal of McDowell Montessori School. As Dr. Posley stated, we are running into a teacher supply chain shortage where training centers, teacher certification centers, and a lot of those places that we partnered with are no longer available to us. So having an extended and strengthened Montessori strategic plan will build our ability to do that work more successfully than not having an approved and extended strategic plan. In addition, we have established so many of the structures in curriculum, specifically the Montessori specific report cards, the commitment to developing dual language Montessori curriculum for Riley School, and developing a Montessori specific adolescent report card and curriculum that can be implemented to ensure fidelity and equity across all Montessori programs. That our urgency is around making sure that we can continue to break down barriers and to build that collaborative spirit to ensure that our fidelity of implementation continues at that strong level and is in fact enhanced. So I would state that staffing and the development of that curriculum, as well as that broad scope for ensuring that those Montessori expansions, facilities are thoughtfully planned, is really, those are the three major areas that we feel so strongly about ensuring that this plan gets approved and extended.
Sure. Chair Simpson, I just have one more question.
Absolutely, go ahead.
And do you feel, and obviously like next year, good, the year after that, great. At the 5 and 10 year mark, do you feel hopeful that the Montessori program will be strong and good and around, or do you feel worry? I would just love to know, kind of projecting out half a decade and a decade, do you feel good about the longevity of the existence and the continuation of our program?
Administration.
Simpson, Director Gokul Gandhi, members of the committee, with 52 adult learners currently engaged in a Montessori certification, teacher certification program, we feel hopeful about the immediate future and the ongoing work of the Montessori coordinator and the Montessori advisory committee in building these systems and structures that will enhance our ability to recruit certified teachers. Having those systems and structures in place will, again, improve our efficacy beyond this initial 52 learner teacher certification program completion, but we'll have built a future that is brighter as a result of our work for the children of Milwaukee Public Schools Montessori programs.
Thank you so much for your hard work and your answers to my questions.
Thank you, Director Gokul Gandhi. Are there any other committee members? Oh, Director Peterson, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to all the hardworking Montessori teachers, parents, students, and community members who put together the strategic plan. It's good to know that there's such intentional work that's taking place as we look for the future. And I think some of our other programs, our bilingual programs, other language immersion programs, other programs could learn from this intentionality. So once again, thank you. And I'm so proud to be, I'm MPS proud, given the work and the success and the breadth and depth of our Montessori program. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Chair?
Yes.
We do have one speaker that was able to get on the platform, and if it's okay,
Absolutely.
we'd like to give public testimony to Lorenda Flores. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hi, I'm Lorenda Flores, Flores.
Thank you.
Chair Simpson and members of the board, thanks for taking my testimony after all of that. I was so excited to hear all the amazing support we're hearing. It almost made me a little weepy. I too am an MPS Montessori teacher, and I'm here to also express my full support of the strategic plan, which has been a critical piece in supporting Montessori with high quality and high fidelity in our district, and has educated thousands of students since 1976, including my 3 daughters. I'm here to tell you quickly my story. I'm working in MPS because of an MPS scholarship. I worked in the private sector for over 25 years and decided to change professions when my daughters were just starting at Fernwood. I was enamored by the method in which they were being taught and wanted to know more. I love teaching Montessori. I'm passionate about it, I'm committed, and I love MPS. I continue to learn about it through additional coursework and professional development opportunities, and I know that my colleagues do the same. Were it not for Montessori, I wouldn't be here at MPS. I wouldn't be a teacher. In fact, it's my understanding that most Montessori trained teachers wouldn't teach any other method. And to me, this says a lot, as does the fact that the Montessori schools in our district are sought after and have a wait list every year to attend. Becoming a teacher later in life meant that I established roots in Milwaukee already and traveling to another city or state, as many others already talked about. But if it weren't for the Montessori training, being in Milwaukee, I wouldn't be a teacher either. So being trained in Milwaukee was critical and continues to be critical for our future teachers as we move forward. We need to have that dedicated training center of some sort in Milwaukee to support our future teachers and to support our current teachers. And we need the centralized coordinator and you guys can all make that happen. MPS is so fortunate to have so many specialty schools available to our community, and each one has particulars that are needed to make them succeed. Montessori is no different. I believe with all my heart that Montessori is worth investing in, and we can't do this without you. So I too am asking for your vote in supporting the Montessori strategic plan and all the aspects needed to execute it. My students, their parents, and myself are relying on you to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that completes public testimony on this item.
Thank you so much. If I could pass the gavel to
So
Director
noted.
Leonard.
Okay, I'll take the gavel. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Leonard. So yeah, just wanted to echo what my colleagues have said. A shout out to the Montessori Advisory Committee for their dedication and hard work to making this all possible in our schools today. I'd also like to thank Ms. Rausch for the history that she provided. I think it's really important to hear that context and just the attention that our district has garnered because of the work that we're doing and that long history that we have. I think that was critically important to hear. So thank you. Mr. Peterson said that makes us all very MPS proud. I'd like to just state my support for this proposal. I think that putting this plan in place will allow for the, many of the things mentioned in there, the recruitment of teachers, the training, the training that we need, and the expansion of this program in our school district. So I think this is just a great foundation to put in place, and I look forward to seeing the next revision coming in 5 years, because I think it's important enough to have that continue. But I do have one question. When we are looking at making sure that all of our schools are staffed and that there is this standard of care in terms of resources and materials, if you could just speak a little bit about how we're monitoring that, how we're collecting that data, how we're reacting to it, I would appreciate it.
Administration.
Sure. Chair Simpson, members of the board, Abigail Rausch, Montessori coordinator. So the process to develop the material standard of care was very extensive to begin with. So we've done research about the different national and international organizations about what materials are needed in the classroom. We had teacher work sessions. We worked with the Montessori principals, the school support teachers, to lay out and to specify what is it specifically that we need in a Montessori classroom to be a Montessori classroom. So that was the first step of our work, which took almost a year-long process. That was completed this past October. And so we now have a Montessori standard of care for primary, lower elementary, and upper elementary. Those standards of care were then use it for an inventory purposes. So each classroom conducted an inventory using that Montessori standard of care to see where our baseline was. Where are we starting? And so that we can see, across that equity line, what work needs to happen. The next part of that is that when we're doing a textbook adoption within the district, part of what happens with the Montessori schools is that we get to use money that would normally be used for a textbook to purchase the Montessori specific materials that we need to do our tier 1 instruction. And so we specifically selected the materials for those textbook adoption monies based off the inventories that were conducted. So every school conducted an inventory, and then the materials that they selected were based off of that inventory so that we could work on where are we, how do we move forward. This is a way to do that. This is, I believe, one of the most powerful, it's a very small aspect of the plan, but working on equity between our programs or amongst our programs is a very, very passionate item among all of us. And I think that starting this way and building these structures and these frameworks to say, this is what the expectation is. We're not there. How do we get there? Or what is needed? I think all of that is really a great piece of work that we were able to accomplish. And now that we have that inventory, the next time we have a textbook adoption coming, or the next time we have some things happening in the classroom, okay, what is it that we need? And now we have some empirical evidence of what is needed where.
Any follow-up questions, Chair Simpson? You're muted.
Thank you. I appreciate that information. I'm glad to hear that that there is some passion behind that, because I agree it's something that's critically important that all of our Montessori schools kind of have that same look and feel to them, that a family walking into any one of them can see that that the same amount of attention is being given to all of our Montessori programs. So thank you. That's all I had to say. And I'll take the gavel back.
So noted.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2. And that is the
I'm
report
sorry,
with possible.
Don't we have to call a vote?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
members of the committee, that was an informational item. And although it was noticed for possible action, there's no action required.
Thank you, Director Gokul Gandhi, for bringing it up. So, Madam Chair, just to maybe clear, or Madam Secretary, maybe to just clarify, the strategic plan then is in place. Oh, go ahead. Administration or?
Chair Simpson and members of the committee, we are requesting of the board to take action on this item.
All right, then I think we need a motion.
Chair Simpson, I move that we approve the Montessori strategic plan.
So noted.
I second
And is there any further discussion? Then, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
On Director Gokul Gandhi's motion to approve the report with possible action on the MPS Montessori strategic plan. And I just want to be clear, because this was presented as a report, not requiring the board to act. Director Gokul Gandhi, is it your intent to approve the plan, the revision to the Montessori strategic plan?
Yes.
Okay, so noted. Madam Chair.
Yep, would you please call the roll?
On Director Gokul Gandhi's motion to approve the Montessori strategic plan revision as submitted in the attachment to this item. Director Carr?
Aye.
Director Gokul Gandhi?
Aye.
Director Leonard?
Aye.
And Chair Simpson?
Aye.
That's 4 ayes. The motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Gokul Gandhi, for bringing that up.
I saw Dr. Posley waving emphatically.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed that. My apologies. Next time, Superintendent, just shout out. We miss you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2, which is a report with possible action on the regional showcase, the Northwest region. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Will administration please present this item?
Yes, Chair Simpson and members of the committee. As always, I'm excited to bring to you our monthly regional showcase. This month, we are featuring Craig Montessori School, and we're welcoming Principal Yolanda Tooks, who will be joining us in the presentation. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Jeremiah Holliday, Instructional Leadership Director for the Northwest Region, to begin the presentation. Dr. Holliday.
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the committee. I'm Jeremiah Holliday, Instructional Leadership Director for the Northwest Region. And joining me tonight is Principal Yolanda Tooks of Craig Montessori School. We're delighted to share with you information about the Northwest region and the wonderful work we continue to do to enrich the lives of our students and empower families. We want to begin this presentation by sharing how the Northwest region embodies the district's priorities for success. especially increase academic achievement and accountability, develop our staff, and strengthen communication and collaboration. The Northwest region offers a variety of programs and services to support our students towards their academic goals. The Northwest region continues to build upon its success through committed instructional leaders and staff members and dedicated community partners. A vital component that attributes to our growth is the success of students and families being true partners in education. As you can see from the slide, we have K-5, K-8, neighborhood schools, and specialty schools, along with community and Verizon schools. At this time, I would like to share current demographics of the Northwest region. To give you a better picture of the Northwest region comprises of 25 schools and serves over 8,500 students in diverse settings to meet the varied needs of our students. Schools in the Northwest region include, as mentioned on the slide, Barton, Bruce, Browning, Bryant, Carson Academy, Congress, Craig Montessori, in which we're highlighting tonight, 81st Street, Emerson, Engelberg, Goodrich, Grantosa Drive, Hampton, Hawthorne, Kilbourne, Kluge, Lancaster, Mapletree, Milwaukee Sign Language, German Immersion, 95th Street, Parkview, Stewart, Throw, and Thurston Wood. Despite the COVID-19 challenges, many of our schools exceeds or meets expectations. They continue to remain focused and driven on increasing student academic achievement. While there may be slippage in certain areas, instructional leaders and teachers continues to provide additional support to anchor our students academically and socially in the Northwest region. So this evening, we celebrate Craig Montessori School for moving forward with its fearless leader, Principal Yolanda Tooks. One may wonder how a student's performing within the Montessori school, and in a few moments, Principal Tooks will give you that information. A few moments ago, you heard me mention that there are three main priorities for success: increase academic achievement and accountability, develop our staff, strengthen communication and collaboration. As a region, we continue to provide and create opportunities for students so that they can thrive in the best learning environment possible. In our featured school tonight, we continue to fulfill the expectation through utilizing the Montessori method, which is based on the philosophy that children reach their fullest potential through multi-age interaction in an inquisitive, cooperative, and encouraging atmosphere through self-directed activity and hands-on learning using unique materials. In addition, the 10 elements outlined in the district academic standard of care are embedded in the Montessori philosophy. To hear more about the work at Craig and all the exciting opportunities that is afforded to our students, I will now turn this portion of the presentation over to Principal Tooks.
Thank you, Dr. Holliday. Good evening, Chair Simpson, members of the committee. I'm Yolanda Tooks, proud principal of Craig Montessori. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to highlight Craig Montessori School and represent our community tonight. I am delighted and honored to take this opportunity to share with you a little about our beautiful community. We are a small K-3 through 8th grade Montessori school with a rich history in the Capitol Heights neighborhood. As Dr. Holliday stated, we serve approximately 275 scholars from K-3 to 8th grade in Montessori philosophy. The Montessori approach offers children intentionally prepared environments that are full of beauty and order. Materials in the classroom are appealing and designed to meet the developmental need of each child. Montessori certified teachers are the bridge between the environment and the student, first through careful observation of each child, and then by providing appropriate instruction and guidance. This can be seen throughout our school community. We are the only Association Montessori International AMI accredited Montessori school in MPS. At Craig Montessori School, we take pride in our heritage. Just a bit of historical information. A world-renowned longitudinal research study evaluating Montessori education was conducted at Craig Montessori School. The general summary from the study was that in a real-world public inner-city Montessori school with an excellent implementation of the Montessori model, there were differences favoring the Montessori student in executive functioning, decoding, and early math, understanding of the mind, and appeals to social justice and social awareness throughout grade 6. Craig was chosen for this study in part because of the well-documented implementation of Montessori curriculum. We pride ourselves on our commitment as a community to the students we serve. We love Montessori education and we implement it with love and grace. High quality Montessori implementation is the cornerstone of our program. Craig Montessori School is a diverse Montessori school that welcomes all students, preparing them for success in higher education, post-educational opportunities, work, and citizenship. The vision of Craig Montessori School is a shared vision. The vision is to cultivate global learners and citizens through an authentic Montessori education. We believe in each child's ability to develop to their full potential through high-quality learning experiences that support intellectual, social, emotional, and physical growth. We value an educational program that specifically follows Maria Montessori's philosophy by responding to each individual student's educational development, cultural, and social needs. Through shared leadership and collaboration, we provide high quality, engaging, and meaningful instruction and support. Our community values are centered on equity, respect, and understanding. We meet each child where they are, trusting in their natural potentials and abilities while guiding them to learn hands-on learning individualized lessons in an environment that is strengthened by security and trust. Craig is a wonderful community of students and parents who work together to make our mission and vision and values come to life in an authentic way on a daily basis. Our mission, vision, and values reflect MPS's goals and demonstrates responsive practices for our learners that drive our school improvement as we work towards growth outcomes for every student. Again, we have about 276 students. We do not have any students listed as English learners, language learners at this time. 18.5% of those students are special education and 73.2% are economically disadvantaged. And then there's our current demographics of our school. With our STAR results and keeping in mind the impact of the pandemic, we were able to increase early literacy by 5.9% of on-target students and reading increased by 2% on target. Our math slightly declined by 0.6. Over the last few years, again, taking in consideration the impact on our school communities from the pandemic, we were still able to meet expectations on our state report card. At Craig Montessori School, as you saw with the STAR, we increased our scores in the Winter Star Monitoring Assessment in reading and early learning fluency. This data is used to cultivate growth plans for each of our students, along with our Montessori record keeping, which reflects our students' daily progress in both reading and math. In collaboration with the Department of Extended Learning Opportunities, we have been providing tutoring on Tuesday and Thursday nights in the areas of math and language for students 1 through 8. Montessori trained teachers support any unfinished learning that our students may have during tutoring. So we are very happy to have that opportunity for our students. We have committed staff members at Craig Montessori who are committed to serving the students who are a part of our community. That is definitely a strong point in our community. We have committed staff who continually work to provide equitable, multi-level systems of support for our students. As an outcome of that work, the Wisconsin RTI Center has recognized our school in reading, math, and behavior at the bronze level. Currently, we have staff participating in Montessori courses. We heard about that earlier with the Montessori Institute of Milwaukee in conjunction with Alverno, Cincinnati Montessori Secondary Teacher Education Program, UW River Falls Montessori Certification Program, and all of our teachers hold either an AMI or AMS certification as well as state of Wisconsin teacher certification. On average, our teachers have 15 years of teaching experience. We are committed to the Montessori method and philosophy of teaching. We reflect on our teaching practices and believe in continuous improvement informed by current research. Oh. I'm sorry. The final priority that I would like to share is that of communication and collaboration. We hold many positive relationships with partners in our community. We are a welcoming community that builds strong partnerships, alliances, and affiliations with families and the larger community. We celebrate differences and enhance connections. We work with different organizations that have impacted our climate and culture and are currently collaborating with us on future projects to serve our community. A couple of examples are Groundworks and Food Right. Both organizations have collaborated with us around healthy living and eating and healthy lifestyle choices. Future projects include a focus on our greenhouse initiative and gardens, implementing a garden to table program. Groundwork Milwaukee currently delivers programming with our students along with Craig Montessori teachers related to our greenhouse operation, greenhouse safety, plant propagation, and related science education, customized greenhouse maintenance, and sustainability plan in collaboration with our student and staff. The parents at Craig Montessori are committed to their children and they support us on a daily basis. This is reflected in the dedicated Parent-Teacher Association that holds numerous school events. Their level of commitment to our community is commendable. We offer Montessori at home parent education nights, which are held 3 times each year, and we work with parents on supporting their children at home as it relates to Montessori principles and values. And our next step. We will continue to have ongoing professional development anchored in research-based strategies and implementation of Montessori curriculum with fidelity for all of our teaching staff. We will continue to have ongoing professional development to build capacity of all staff in restorative practices, connecting instruction to students' cultural identities and practices. Ongoing professional development and de-escalation for all of our staff to support students' social and emotional learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Tooks. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Principal Tooks. Madam Secretary, do we have any comment on this item?
Madam Chair, there are no speakers registered at this time.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Leonard.
Just compliments. Keep up the great work. I have spoken with a number of Craig Montessori parents over a long range of years. They've always had the greatest respect and admiration for the school and the programs that go on there. So thank you very much. It is really good to hear from you, and just keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Leonard. Director Gokul Gandhi.
I also just want to say thank you for your great work. And again, in schools like you that make us MPS proud. So keep up the great work. And we're really happy that all of you are part of the MPS family.
Thank you, Director Gokul Gandhi. Director Carr.
I just want to echo the sentiments of everyone else and say that you all are doing a great job. I know it's not easy. I absolutely love the Montessori model because it appeals to the different learning styles that I think traditional models don't do so well. And so I just want to say, keep up the great work and continue to communicate with us and let us know how we can be of support.
Thank you, Director Carr. I'd like to pass the gavel to Director Leonard.
So noted.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to thank you so much, Principal Tooks, for your presentation and talking about the history of Craig Montessori. And I always like to just give your school a shout out because when you walk in there, there is just this immediate sense of warmth and family and caring and learning that you experience when you enter that building. So I just want to let you know how much I appreciate it, enjoy the time that I've been able to spend there. So just hats off. And I'm so proud that Craig is in District 2. And I will take the gavel back now.
So noted.
Thank you. Are there any other committee members who wish to make a comment? All right, seeing none, thank you again so much for that presentation. And Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
Well, thank you. There being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention tonight and everybody who presented. You all have a great evening.
Good night.
Bye-bye.